the game before. But thank you and welcome to my stream. This is me, and we're gonna today I'm gonna be jumping right into the Ryukage series. So before I jump into this comic, which is a very cool series, by the way, that I'm that I created about like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, like around 2015 to 2012, 2014, sorry. So I created this comic, and this comic is actually a prequel to like my published novel. But I've been working on this for a while, and I realized that a lot of people still don't really know the story of the Ryukage, so that's kind of what I'm going to be doing today, kind of explaining where we're at with the storyline so far, and kind of giving everybody a little bit of a basic rundown on what's been going on with this, and what you've been hearing about with my games and on my Patreon for like the past couple months, right? Because I keep on referencing this particular comic series, all right? So this is the Ryukage issue number 1, which was created by me and another artist that I hired named Keith Gutierrez. He's a very talented artist, one of the best I've ever worked with. So this is the original cover art for issue number 1. I am continuing this comic series now, which is another reason why I've decided to go ahead and do an explainer video that's basically just going to catch everybody up on where the story arc is, where the story of the Ryukage Saga is at this time. So before we jump into that, if you like comic explain type videos and world building and lore, then definitely you're going to want to keep an eye on my channel. So subscribe, hit the noti bell, because I will be doing these type of videos a lot more often, especially now that I'm continuing this series with story arc 1, the Ryukage Saga. Right, so before we jump into the actual comic, though, let me introduce you to some of the characters that you'll find in the first comic issue. So this is Ryoko. She is the main protagonist of this of the first few issues of this comic. So this is Ryoko. This is her father, Hitoshi, and we'll get into their backstory and everything later. And this is her mother, Megumi. All right, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to be explained during this video. So if you haven't read the comics or anything yet, this video is perfect for you, because I am going to be going through a lot of stuff that is explained in the comics, as well as stuff that has not been explained in the comics. So we'll go ahead and skip that. All right, so the Ryukage issue number 1. So as you can pretty much tell, this story starts in Edo period Japan, so in a place called Izumo. And this is way back in the 1600s, so you're thinking, if you're thinking samurai, ninjas, demons, and seal, yeah, that's it. This is it, basically. So this is our kind of setting. And for those of you who don't know that much about Japan, I live in Japan, so let me bring up a map of where Izumo would be located. All right, this is my Patreon page, so a lot of stuff that when I'm explaining these videos, because I have a lot of character lore and profiles and stuff on my Patreon, I will be referencing that. But for those of you who don't live in Japan or don't really know that much about the area, this is the map of Japan. So back in the 16th century. All right, and Izumo would be located right around here, right? So this is kind of where our characters live, right? So it's on the western side of Japan, between the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan, over here, heading towards Asia. So this is kind of where Hitoshi and his family live. Right, so if you'd like to know more about this map, or get more details, you can actually download that from my Patreon account over here, where I've got a lot of locked content covering all of the story arcs in my WildFIRE Expanded Universe, right? So the Ryukage is actually the first story arc of my WildFIRE Expanded Universe, and it all begins with this comic series. Technically, it all begins with this comic series, so... So in Izumo, this is just kind of in the first couple pages, you're going to see the first thing you see is blood. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we're heading with this comic, because there's going to be a lot of that, just to to let you know in advance. All right, so. While we're chilling in Izumo, we're just kind of walking down the street, and we see these guys, these bandits or whatever, just kind of having their way with the family over here. Poor dad tried to put up a fight, and it did not go very well for him. But he at least tried, right? And so basically they're robbing this caravan, and they're planning on taking and selling the girls, maybe killing the dad off, taking all the good and stuff like that, right? So I'm not gonna go through and read all of this stuff because I don't like. I'm not a voice actor, so I don't want to like switch my voice up too much. But these are a bunch of your standard like Yankee type bad guys, right? And then out of nowhere, like just like straight off screen, this knife comes flying and hits this guy right in his eyeball, which must have hurt by the way. But he's taking it very well, in my opinion, right? All he's saying is ah, right? So yeah, like yeah, he's not gonna be like his eye exam doctor is not gonna be too happy with him. So anyways, like this is Hitoshi. He's just like kind of like heading on his way back home because like Hitoshi is a traveler, so he's actually in the import export business. So he actually is a sailor. So he works as a traveling merchant overseas. So he regularly leaves Japan like for months at a time. Does like trading like tea and spices and like whatever else they can sell, and then he comes back, right? So unfortunately for these guys, they happen to catch him on his way home. And at this point, like Hitoshi's about 63, 64 years old during this time, so like he's just coming home. All he wants to do is get back to like go through the mountains, not get attacked by any wild animals, and get back to his house, right? Get to like and see his family. But as like as Blade said, there's always some trying to ice skate uphill, and unfortunately, these are those guys, right? And they actually thought he was an old man, so like, yeah, we can take him. Unfortunately, they don't know anything about this guy's backstory. So this jump, it looks heroic, but that's the last action he will ever take because Hitoshi doesn't mess around. And you're gonna learn more about his background later. But this guy, not only does he like get these guys, he even got this guy twice for trying to be pretty. So this is the down slash and like horizontal. This dude is like more than this guy is like he's got the whole cross cut into him, right? So I think we could have based a religion on this guy. But yeah, Hitoshi just kind of does his thing, doesn't say much. He tried to warn him, and then he goes right on about his business, like just another day at the office for this guy. And to be honest, I mean, he's used to kind of dealing with bandits and stuff, like not only in Japan, but when he travels overseas. Anyway, so that's one reason why they hired him, like as a traveling merchant, right? Because he is pretty good at what he does, and what he does isn't very nice. So after like Hitoshi does his thing, kind of cleans up and helps his family out, keeps the daughters from being taken away. He's also a little bit skilled in medicine, so he helps this other guy, the father up, and he kind of just goes on about his business. It's just back in the 16th century, though, like this was just a typical day in Japan. Like for a lot of people, like just walking the streets, trying not to get robbed by bandits while you're carrying stuff, right? So even in times of peace, there's always like the unsightly desires of men never change, and that is true even today. We're going through a lot of that right now. But he helps the guy, and his family get back on the wagon. He's like, they go on their way. He goes on his way. He's heading home. Like he sees his mountain in the background. Now in the story, I'll get to that later. But he sees the mountain in the background. So he doesn't have Google Maps. He's walked this path like so many times. So he's like, yeah, he knows how far he is from home. It's a nice day. And then he hears something in the leaves of the tree. So he's like, okay, well I know what this is. And he gets attacked. And the person he gets attacked by is Ryoko, his youngest daughter. So Hitoshi and his wife have 6 daughters, right? And like as you can tell, like she's kind of like one. He's got like 3 or 4 tomboys in his in his crew. But Ryoko being the youngest, like she kind of has she kind of knows when he's like heading back. He sent a mail to his wife letting him know, like letting the family know about what time he would be arriving. And she's been like out there like just kind of like spying on the port, trying to catch this dude on his way home, right? And even though she does look a bit older with the drawing in this particular, during this time Ryoko's actually about 10 years old, right? So she looks to be a little bit aged up because of the way that we drew her, but like she is about 10 years old during this time. And like she tried to get the drop on her father, thinking that his skills may have rusted while he was overseas, like, but she doesn't know what the dude's been through. So of course he just catches her and like, hey girl, you're 1,000 years too early for this stuff, right? So he takes her, flips her over, puts the knife up to her throat and lets her know that daddy is still daddy, but no matter what, that's his baby. So like they have this nice little like family exchange, because he's the one that did train her, with a lot of stuff. Now, like because of the area that they live in, there's not a lot of schools around. So Ryoko hasn't. She's 10 years old, but she hasn't been to school. So she's a straight up wild child, right? And that's one reason for this because they're just so isolated that the school is actually the next town over. And with Hitoshi being gone all the time, it's just not practical for his wife to be sending the kids to school. So she's all home trained and homeschooled and stuff like that. Like her mother tried. I'll put it that way, and it didn't work out because she's always out in the woods. I mean, like from the time she wakes up and eats breakfast, this girl is never home. And so like but kids will be kids. That's how I grew up. I mean, back in the '80s, our parents were like never there. So it was just like kids raising kids, cooking and stuff like that. So I kind of support this lifestyle, to be honest. But Hitoshi, he's like, okay, well, she's like, getting a little bit better. He still managed to capture, but she's getting a little bit better at her sneaking around. So he gave her some props, and then like they go home together. And so, like, during this time, the family is expecting him. Like, his wife has been keeping an eye on the weather to let the kids know whether she thinks he'll be delayed or whatnot. So he rolls up in his house, and like as soon as he gets greeted by his 6 daughters and his wife. So I'll do a brief introduction of these girls, I guess. So they're very excited. At this point in time, Hitoshi's been gone for about like a little bit over a year, I think, at this point, and they haven't seen him. So, we'll give a quick rundown of the family members. So you've already met Hitoshi, and you've met Ryoko. So let's jump over to my Patreon right quick, and we'll go to character profiles or the Ryukage Saga. Like I said, I have a lot of content on my Patreon right now that will show like older and newer artwork for these characters, and that will help me explain this a lot easier. So I've got like character profiles and everything here. So let's see. Oh, that's right. Some of these are still locked on this account. I'm sorry. So this is what Hitoshi kind of looks like now. From now that I've been like working with traditional and modern tools to kind of like flesh out the character and make them look a little bit better. So this is like the newer version of or the updated version of Hitoshi. And this is him like cutting up those guys. So we've kind of introduced this guy. You can read his full profile on Patreon and find out a lot about his backstory by yourself, because I'm not going to explain like too much of that here, because I do want you guys to kind of research and find out what this is about yourselves. But like that was Hitoshi, and then we've got his wife is like here's Ryoko, but you can't really see her profile. Oh, yeah, you can't really see it on this one. Let's see if I jump over here. Yeah, I don't want to give people too much access to my locked content on Patreon. But, I mean, the character profiles are pretty easy to find. So, like, you can just, like, come over to, if you hit the home button, on Patreon, you can just kind of come over here and, hello. Yeah, I've got like everything set up in collections. So if you hit collections, you can actually check out each story arc separately. So there are 3 main story arcs to the WildFIRE storyline that I will be getting into. I also have podcasts that explain the beginning of the universe, stuff that I'm not really going to like write or draw out in the comics. So if you come over here, you've got your collections, and this is for the Ryukage. I think all of the character profiles are not in here though. So we'll jump over to character profiles, and I'll give you a brief rundown of the family members that you're going to encounter during issue number 1 of the Ryukage here. So let's see, not gonna spoil anything. All right, so we've got all right, basic family members, stuff like that. So I have on my Patreon, like I have like quite a few characters, because I've covered the entire storyline, the entire WildFIRE storyline. All right, so the characters that you're going to meet in this comic, you're going to meet Hitoshi, Then you're going to meet Ryoko, the youngest. So this is her as she gets a little bit older. And then you're going to meet his wife, Megumi. So, like, this would be Megumi right here. And this is kind of what she looks like. Now, during this time, this is her when she's a little bit younger, about in her 40s. This is what Megumi kind of looks like now. So, like, during this time, Megumi, she's also about, like, 61 years old. So, yeah, like, her and Hitoshi, just a few years older than her. And they've been married for a while, and enough to have, like, 6 kids anyway. Then the next the next one you're going to meet over here is Rin. So this is Rin. This is his oldest daughter, and Rin is I wish it would let me load more than just one. So this is Rin, and she is the oldest of the 6 daughters here. So you'll find out more about her in this comic. Actually, you'll find out more about her in issue number 2. Actually. Yeah, so she does appear in issue number 1, the one that we're talking about right now. So that's the second daughter. So that was Rin over here, the eldest daughter. The second oldest daughter is the girl in pink over here, and that her name is Fujiko. And so let's pull up Fujiko. She's like she is like the girl that kind of like the older sister, bad girl of the group. She's the one that every guy kind of wants to marry, but she kind of got her own twist on her own expectations of love. Which makes her even more desirable to the guy that she'll be running into later in the series. So, but this is the second daughter, like Fujiko. Then third daughter that we'll run into. This one right here, her name is Saya. And like at the beginning of the series, she's kind of got like long hair, but as the series progresses, you'll see her like start to change her look. This is like Saya, like okay, yeah, this is what Saya is gonna look like in a few years. After the events of this comic series kind of kick off. So right now she kind of got like long hair and, she's very proper and stuff like that. But a lot of that stuff is about to change for some very specific reasons, which we'll get into later in the series. But this is her like aged up. This is what she'll look like in the very near future in the comic series. So that was like oldest like Rin, Fujiko, Saya over here. Then we're starting to get into like the middle, like the middle sisters, and that would be like Tomoka. So Tomoka, she is the fourth sister. Now the fourth, sisters number 2 through 5 are not really so present in the first few comic issues of the Ryukage series, right? So where are you? Okay, so this is Tomoka, and you'll see these characters that they're aged up on my Patreon when they're actually doing more of their stuff. At the very beginning of the Ryukage series, for the first 2 issues, these girls are not so active. They start becoming active in issue number 3, which is the issue that I'm working on right now. Right, so this is Tomoka, and then you can kind of see what she does for the group. So she is the marksman of the group. Then after her, she was the one in green. After her, we got the one that's hiding behind Megumi here, her mother. That will be Masami. Now, some of their children do have like a reddish brown hair. So Masami is one that Masami and Fujiko have reddish brown hair because Hitoshi's mother, actually had reddish brown hair. So that's like genetic for them. This is what Masami will look like. She's kind of aged up as well. So you can kind of get a sense for what their roles and their looks like are going to, or their roles and stuff are going to look like in the comic series going forward. Right, so this is the 5th sister, and then you have Ryoko, who is the baby of the family, right? The baby and the wildest one, right? So back to the comic, so that's Hitoshi's like family. So we got Hitoshi, Megumi, Rin, Fujiko, Saya, Tomoka, Masami, and Ryoko, right? And they're all a nice, big, happy family. They're super excited to have their dad home because he's gonna be home for a while. He normally takes about like he'll stay abroad for like maybe like 8 months to a year, and then he comes back, spends like about maybe 4 to 6 months at home until like things build up, and then he had to go on another shipping run. And this guy has been all over like Asia and Southeast Asia, so he's a very experienced traveler. So he always brings home gifts and stuff like that, which Ryoko obviously notices. So that's the first thing she goes for before her other younger sisters get into that bag. So like Hitoshi and Megumi have their like nice romantic moment, and like they're both 60, but they're still pretty young and still pretty active, if you know what I mean. So like eventually the daughter's probably gonna have to leave the house and go somewhere later, later in the night. But anyway, back to the story. This is yeah, actually, like Rin. Oh, sorry, Rin was the one over here. Sorry, and then no, actually, Rin's over here. We just this one is Fujiko. Yeah. So come on, Rin, please. So, all right. So they have their nice little family reunion, stuff like that. And with the way that this was this was drawn back in like 2012, 2014. It was at the time it was very good, but also if you'll notice, a lot of the characters kind of looked relatively similar just because of the art style that was being used. So that's something that I will be changing going forward in the comic. So if you'll notice now on my Patreon, each character has a more distinctive look. And that's another reason why I've started using modern tools and kind of redesign them on paper, and then I started using modern tools to kind of make sure that they're consistent and more easily identifiable with colors and stuff like that. So Hitoshi and Megumi, actually they're about to he's making his moves on his wife right in front of his kids. They're old enough, they know what the birds and bees are. But fortunately for unfortunately for Hitoshi, he's got guests, right? Because when he wrote his wife to let her know when he would be returning, she let him know that he had a friend that wanted to see him, while he was still in town, right? So, unfortunately, their romantic embrace will have to be delayed until later, because he's got to, talk some business stuff, right? So, yeah, sorry, Hitoshi, you're gonna have to send him, put him back in the house at the moment. But so now, this guy right here is Hitoshi's oldest friend, right? And his name is Hata. Right now, we'll just call him a Hata, and you'll see why in a little bit. He is not one of the characters that you will find on my Patreon page, with a nice long character description, and that will become self-explanatory as we continue with issue number 1 explanation. All right. So anyway, he is happy to see his old friend back. Now, Hata, he's actually working in the village, closer to the nearest village, and this is Hata's son, who also doesn't. We'll hurry up to that point. All right. So Megumi, she's kind of been entertaining them, letting them know when Hitoshi's coming back, and so these guys, they're like bros. This is his bro, from way back in the day. So. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff that they need to talk about, but like I said, Hata, he's mostly here on business at this time, right? So, now, while Hitoshi is away, one reason why Hata lives so close, well, he lives in the next village, is so that he can kind of be close to Hitoshi's family while he's away. And this is something that you don't really get from comic issue number 1, but there is a reason for that I'll have to get into a little bit later, right? But right now, he's like, yo, bro, what's up? And then now they're just gonna go talk about old times, while it's still sunlight. And they need to talk by themselves, but of course, this girl, she ain't having none of that. She's like, yo, my daddy just got home. You ain't taking him nowhere without me. So she kind of volunteers to bomb their business meeting, you know, but I mean, she's adorable, so I mean, they ain't gonna say no. All right, so you know, she's just being I love Ryoko because like you know, she's just a girl. She's just like you know a 10-year-old girl that wants to hang out, have fun, hunt, like travel, climb trees and stuff like that. And her family's like totally cool with that. You know, as long as she ain't breaking stuff in the house or like you know, and as long as she comes back at night, you know, her family doesn't seem to worry about her too much, right? Because like I said, they are in an isolated area. Like their nearest neighbor is like actually the village that Hata lived in, basically. Now I mean, there's a few houses scattered every now and then, but you know, it's kind of a ways away from everyone. So while like Hitoshi and like Hata are like walking around, like you know, just talking about old time stuff that this girl will have no idea about. You know, Ryoko's playing in the river, which is one of her favorite activities, like catching fish with her hand and stuff like that. Beautiful mountainside, beautiful area. You know, Hitoshi like, and the reason like Hata showed up now is because like his son Toshiyuki is now of marrying age, and Hitoshi has Rin, who's also marrying age. And I'm not really going to explain so much about Rin's backstory at the moment because we will get into that a lot later. However, like she is the eldest daughter, and she is the only one that has a school education. Which she got in Hata's village. So she's the only one of the girls that's actually been to school. Okay, well, there's a correction. Okay, so Rin was the oldest. She's the one that actually completed education. They tried to send Fujiko, but like I said, this guy Hitoshi, he's got few tomboys in his group, and Fujiko, like, she was tomboy number one, so they would send her to school because they wanted her to like you know also get an education, and she got about like maybe 1/3 of it, but then they found out that she was like never going to school, and like because she's so attractive as she started getting older, she started having like trouble with the boys, a lot of it caused by her. I ain't gonna lie, like you know, so but there was a certain incident where like you know some boys followed her home, and like fortunately there were like you know one of the neighbors that travels the same street, one of the sorry, not the neighbors, like Hata was on his way there, and he managed to properly deal with those guys. But after that, they decided like if she wasn't going to hang out and if she wasn't going to stay in school and would be running around anyway, it would just be better for Fujiko to stay home. So Rin, the oldest daughter, is the only one that's actually completed any formal education at this time because they live so far away from the village, right? So the business meeting is they're trying to arrange a marriage between like Hata's oldest son, Hata's only son Toshiyuki, and like Hitoshi's eldest daughter Rin, right? And you can see like why these guys are you know bros, because they were fighting in Oda Nobunaga's army, which is actually going to become a key factor in the storyline. You know, especially when we start talking about the origins of certain people. So these guys, they were in Nobunaga's army. You know, they were helping him fight his battles. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they agreed with what he was doing, though. And this is also something that is very important to the storyline. So they both joined the army when they were very small, and they became very good swordsmen, and they like you know became very good soldiers and did what they needed to do. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you know their hearts were like connected to what Nobunaga was doing at the time, because like to be honest, a lot of his soldiers thought that that man was fucking crazy. So they thought he lost his mind. And so like even though they did their duty, and they felt like they were on the side of justice for a while. Like you'll find out why Hitoshi and Hata's opinion started to change. So, but anyway, this is them doing their thing, just running through like a castle, like chopping off heads, right? And like so, but this Nobunaga died. Let's see, yeah, he just died like not too long ago in the storyline. So now that Nobunaga's dead, like you know, there's a lot of like unrest and stuff like that, you know. But so Japan is kind of in this transition period to where like they don't really know what's going to happen, you know, whether it's going to be a positive or negative or how things are going to shift, right? And so this is a very very kind of like how do you say, tumultuous time period, you know. So, but it could go either way at this point in time, right? So anyway, like as they're talking, you know, just chilling out during the daytime, Ryoko's catching her fish, and then like you know they're talking about how peaceful it is out in the countryside, and like when whenever in comics, whenever a character starts talking about nostalgia and peace, that normally means that some shit's about to go down, and that's exactly what happened here. All right, so Ryoko, she's playing with her fish. She looks down, and then as she's looking down and just had her hand in the water, she notices like the river starts to turn to blood, right? And all of the fish around her just start dying for no reason, right? So of course, like being a 10-year-old girl, like who did like playing with like live fish and finding out that you're surrounded by in a river full of blood, she had the reaction. So like these two guys though, like they're old, but they're still fast. They're on their toes. So as soon as like she screams, like daddy's there in a heartbeat. He's like, and the first thing he does is to check her to make sure that she didn't get attacked by something. And she's like, like, Daddy, my feet are burning, right? And so, because the river just turned to, like, blood, like, kind of acidic type blood. Not too acidic, but, the blood. And so, like, he's like, okay, well, it's not her. She's not cut. So, no cuts on her feet. No cuts on her. Her feet are fine. And so, it's not hers. And then, like, Hata, he's like, Hitoshi, look over there. The fish, too. So, he just notices a river full of dead fish. And right when they notice that, that's when they hear a growl, right? Or they just hear like this big noise, and so, and like they're both they're both old samurai, so they carry their swords with them everywhere because they do live out in the countryside, and you gotta have your protection because you never know when a bandit's gonna like roll up on you. So they don't have their blinkies, but they still got their swords. Alright, so like you turn around, and then they see like the mountain that Hitoshi was looking at on his way home just erupts like Now, historically speaking, there is no mountain called Mount Kansai in Japan. I just made that shit up. And like Mount Kansai in the story is located where's my map over here? Do I have my map here? I just introduced you guys to the character. So Mount Kansai is, I don't want to give away all of my, dragon maps. So in this storyline, Mount Kansai is like located right here, like very close to like Hitoshi's home, or not too far away from Hitoshi's home, right? So in my storyline, this mountain did exist until this point where it just blew up and got flattened, right? So as soon as this mountain like blows up and erupts, it just basically becomes like flat land, after this event. Alright, so the mountain erupts and like, whoa, okay, like this is not supposed to be a volcanic mountain. That's Mount Fuji over there, right? And so he's like, what's going on here? There was no warning. And then the mountain exploding is like, it's bad enough, right? Because they're like, they got to be worried about falling to breathe and stuff like that. But, what really freaks them out is they see something come out of the mountain. And this thing that comes out of the mountain, it doesn't move like lava at all. It just starts like racing down the mountain in a zigzag pattern, and it's heading right for them. All right, so like Hitoshi says, like that's not lava. Lava isn't round, it isn't solid, it doesn't move like that. And this thing moves like something like that has a purpose, right? And he's not wrong. So they're still standing in the middle of the river, and they get their swords out. They have no idea what this thing is, but it's just their natural instinct to protect Ryoko, right? So they pull out their swords, and then this ball of like black energy just kind of stops right in front of them, right? And then it starts to reveal itself as to what it really is. And so like the claws come out, the eyes come out, the tail comes out, and they find themselves staring face to face with this demon. And this demon is a Kuragami demon. This is the Kuragami in this storyline means dark gods. So this is one of the first demons. This is the first demon that they will face. I think I'll leave this one up here and so to give you a look at what this demon actually looks like. I can't spell today. So this is one of the lore scrolls that you can find on my Patreon account. This is normally locked for patrons. And you can actually download some of these lore scrolls. So this is what the demon dog actually looks like. Only his tail can actually shorten or lengthen as he needs it. But he does have a dragon-like tail, when he's in battle form. This is just him walking around like normally, like, without all of his, like, without, not in attack mode, right? So this is kind of what he will look like. This is what his card battle, this is what his battle card looks like for my card battle game, right? And there are different versions of this demon dog that will like start appearing. But they're the lesser version of the one that Hitoshi and Hata are facing off against now. All right. So yeah, that's this is what they're facing in the comics at the moment. So this is the first Kuragami demon to appear in front of them. All right, and of course, like they're like, well, damn, that's a big dog. So of course they don't really know how to react to this, right? As this thing just beams at them. It does it just like breaks out of the mountain, comes down, stares them right in the face, and just beams at them. Like it's got expectations. Like they owe him money or something like that, right? He's like, I'm here to freaking collect, right? So they of course they have no idea what this thing is, right? And then the thing that mostly surprises them though is that this thing can talk. So it's like Nishiyama, right? It just screams Nishiyama, and and it screams so loud, it's got like a shockwave to his voice, right? That like not only frightens them, but also actually they take the physical damage from this, right? And but if you'll notice, Hitoshi is like Nishiyama. He recognizes it as a name, right? So this thing is looking for a name, and he's like, but like they live in a remote area, and Hitoshi and Hata know everybody around that area, and there's nobody named Nishiyama nearby, right? So he's like, so they have no idea what this thing is talking about because Hitoshi's like family, the Morita clan, right? So, and now, he's like, well, mistaken identity, and then the dog is like, nope, it just automatically swipes at him, right? So Hitoshi doing his dad thing, just kind of bumps Ryoko out of the way, knocks her out of the way so that she doesn't get damaged, and then he tries to block with his sword. And that thing just smashes like right through him, right through his defense. Boom. I mean, to be honest though, this is like about an 8 or 9 foot dog, so he wasn't gonna block that one anyway. But he tried, right, and like knocks him right into a tree. And this is where they kind of realize they fucked up, right? And so then Hata, but Hata, he's not gonna let his boy like go out like that. So he jumps in and he's also trying to protect Ryoko, and so this demon dog, when it's charging, it knocks over a tree, and like Hata manages to get Ryoko out of the way, and then she's looking around for Hitoshi, and she finds out that this demon has kind of knocked a tree branch over him, so Hitoshi's pinned, right? And if you'll notice, this thing has like transformed its tail into like a dragon-like tail with a spike on it, so it's about to impale this guy, and that would be okay. Now that's the end of the Ryukage issue #1. Story like tuned in for issue #2. No, but Hitoshi, he hasn't given up the fight yet, so he's reaching for his sword. He's like, you ain't taking me out like that quickly. And so now the sword that Hitoshi is using is actually one of the swords that he picked up when he was traveling. This is actually a Chinese sword, not a katana blade. So he picks it, like he's reaching for that because that's the one that he has available. And he actually prefers this one to, okay, like a little bit of background story here. When Hitoshi gave up his blade for reasons that we'll discuss like later in this comic, he still trains, but he doesn't particularly like samurai swords because carrying a samurai sword to him reminds him of all of the stuff that he had to do in the name of Oda Nobunaga. So and he wasn't really down with all of that, but it was his duty. So like he wound up killing a lot of like innocent people. So when he finally like put his hung up his swords and kind of retired from the military, that doesn't mean that he gave up the skill, but he gave up the samurai sword and the belief system that he was kind of like forced to abide by. And so that's why he kind of carried a Chinese sword with him, because it doesn't remind him of like all of the killing that he had to do, like in the name of Nobunaga, and so he recognizes the Chinese sword as a new beginning, and also he only uses it for defense, so that's why his sword hilt looks a little bit different. All right, so like anyway, he's reaching for his sword. He's like, yeah, I ain't going out like that. And then like she like now at this time like Ryoko, she's really worried about her father. She's like, oh my god, he got this big dog standing over him and is about to like impale him, which it is. And then like Hitoshi, he's also like, I got to get this thing off of me before I get skewered like a nikudango. And then like so he thinks I mean right now, to be honest, everybody thinks it's about him, right? So he thinks this is all about him somehow. Right, just naturally, like typical. I think it's a little bit egotistical, but I mean, the dog is kind of standing over him, so I'll give him that one. But he's like, oh yeah, it's all about me, and then like, and then he notices though that while she's worried about him, the dog looks at her, right, and then it just snaps on Hitoshi. He's like, oh my god, it's not after me, it's after her, and then like the dog just sprints right after Ryoko. And like Hitoshi, he tried to hold on to it, but this thing is huge, and so this dog just goes right for his daughter, right for his youngest daughter, like not even a thought, And so Hata, like being the bro that he is, he just jumps up and does like a little ninja kick and swings his sword at it, and that shit just shatters, right? And he's like, oh well, I'm screwed. But he's like, she's like, like Hata thought, and he's like, didn't you hear your dad? You better get the hell up out of here, like run, you fool. And then like as soon as he says that. Yeah, this kind of happened. So now you know why he doesn't have a profile on my Patreon page. I am gonna give him a little bit of a dedication on Patreon later. It just happens so quickly that he doesn't really deserve a full page. Like I'm just gonna give him the most. Respect guy. He went out like a G. He held up his He held up his obligation and his commitment to his friend to protect his family, with his last breath. That is a promise that he made to Hitoshi. He just didn't think it was gonna, he was actually gonna have to cash in on that shit, as soon as he did. And, so he just gets, cut right in half by this demon's tail, right? Yeah, and that is the end of Hata. Anyways, after this guy dies a very heroic death, the demon's just like, well, that's that was a snack. Like, what else we got? And it just starts going right after Ryoko again. So she climbs his hill, and fortunately, he's a bit heavy, so he slides down that shit. But he's like, okay, well, I'll just go the other way around. And so he starts looking for another route to get to his daughter. And Hitoshi's like, okay, yeah, she's got the instincts right. She's heading right to the house, And so he's like, yeah, I gotta get up out of this and take care of that monster, right? So. All right, so his arm is injured. It's gonna take him a little bit of time to recover, but he's like, he doesn't have a lot of time because it seems like trying to eat his youngest daughter. So he just goes chasing after them, and then so the demon does manage to corner Ryoko at some point in time, and is about to make a snack out of her. But here comes Hitoshi with the last bit of his strength. He catches his daughter and manages to get a couple good shots in on the demon, and this demon's just like, you know what, I ain't dealing with you, boop, and just bumps them both over the edge of a cliff. He's like, I don't care how I kill you, my mission is just to kill you. So I mean, he doesn't really have a particular method that he prefers to use in this situation. It's just, hey, dude, whatever works. If you wind up falling off a cliff and bash your head on some rock, that's still good enough. It's still a win. That's kind of what this demon is thinking. So fortunately, Hitoshi, he's got really quick reflexes, so he manages to grab hold of the ledge. But Ryoko, she's kind of slipping off, and there's a river of blood right below them. So he tells her to climb up, and she does, and this demon dog's like, nope, it almost takes her head right off, and that causes her to fall again. And then the dog's like, man, I ain't got time for this, and just knocks them both off, clips the ledge, and sends them both crashing into a river of blood below. Alright, he's like, now, he looks like, yeah, they dead. And so he's like, mission number 2, and he just takes off. Now, at this point, remember, this demon is a dog, right? So it tracks by smell. So, based on this panel right here, you can kind of guess where it's heading to next. So, unfortunately, for the demon dog, the river was a bit deeper than, that part of the river was a bit deeper than he gave it credit for, and there weren't any, rocks to bash into pieces at the bottom. And so, they managed to survive that and, managed to swim over to the shore. And so, they're both still, not doing too bad physically. All right. And then Ryoko, she notices that like there are red skies and black clouds following this demon wherever it goes, right? And so it's like an ominous. You can tell where the demon's headed because like whenever a demon shows up, the sky turns red, and like black clouds just start to kind of flow with it. You know, so black clouds, thunder, lightning, and all of that stuff, right? So Hitoshi, like, I don't see it. I think we're safe. And they are covered in blood right now, so this is why the demon wouldn't be able to smell them because it would just be smelling the bloody river. So that kind of masks their smell at the moment. And then Hitoshi's like, yeah, I think we're good. You know, like it doesn't seem to like really smell us. It doesn't seem to be tracking it. And then oh shit, he realizes like that it is a dog, and it like so if it was tracking them by smell, then its natural instinct would be to like track back to where the smell originated from. And so he just grabs Ryoko. He's like, yo, we gotta go. And so like they're like running, and on their way home, unfortunately, that family that Hitoshi saved at the very beginning of this issue number 1, the demon kind of ran across them in transit on his way to another snack, and they did not fare very well. So this is the family that Hitoshi saved in the first couple panels, and they were like just heading back to the village, and the demon ran across them, and it was quick. It didn't have any mercy, like, at all. This thing does not care, like, women, children, old men, like, baby, it doesn't care. It's just like, it's got a mission, and if it's hungry and it needs snacks in the middle of the way, then it just takes what it wants and goes on about its business. So this guy did not last like 2 seconds. It wasn't even a fight. So Hitoshi, this really hurts Hitoshi because he just saved his family, and he thought he like managed to like help them get home, and it turns out that wasn't the case. And like at this point in time, we still have no idea what the demon is, or like why it's on a rampage, or exactly what it's after. We just know that it's after Hitoshi's youngest daughter for some reason, right? So he's like, well, I can't take Ryoko home because I'm gonna have to go fight this thing because I know where it's heading. And so he tells Ryoko, he's like, yo, we're gonna have to split up. He's like, go to the nearest, go find somewhere safe. And he's pointing towards the village that Hata actually comes from, right? And so he's like, I can't take you with me. I gotta get home quick. And like, I already know that it's after you. So, and I see where it's going because I can see the like, red cloud. So it's not coming back for you. It's like heading home. And so, like, he's like, yo, stay here, go somewhere, or find somewhere safe, go run to the nearest village, find it. You need an adult, and it's not me right now. So, he just bounces, and he just kind of leaves her there with his dead family. And she's like, well, thanks, Dad. What am I supposed to do? So, at this point, like, Ryoko's like pretty conflicted. So she's like, okay, well, I know she's scared. She's 10 years old. She should be scared. And she knows that it's after her. But she's like, well, what do I do? Like, I can't, I'm 10. I'm 10. What am I going to do? So, she's like, I can run and I can head to the village. But there's no guarantee that, I'm safe there. And I know where it's heading. It's heading home. So she's like, and you're injured. She noticed that his arm is injured. So she's like, yeah, it's heading in the other direction. That shit's not going to happen. Yeah, so she's like, I know that it's after me. I'm very scared. I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified of that thing. I know I shouldn't be doing this. But Ryoko is also a very like brave and determined girl, especially when it comes to protecting her family. So she might be the youngest, but like I'll take a pause to explain to you a little bit about this girl here. So Ryoko, like, because she's the youngest, she did get kind of treated like a baby a lot in the family. And that's something that she never really appreciated. Because, like, I mean, well, to be fair, Megumi's got 6 daughters, so, like, she has kind of managed all of them. So this is what Ryoko actually kind of looks like at this point in time in the comics. So a little bit younger than what you're seeing in the original depiction of her, right? Yeah, so she would, like I said, she would be about 10, and this is kind of the aftermath. But, like, she's already a brave girl when she's 10. This is her when she's about, like, maybe, I think 14 or 15. No, actually, like, this would be, like, her when she's 12, 13 years old. right? So about 2 or 3 years later. But she is a brave girl, and one reason why she hangs out in the forest by herself so much is because she doesn't want to be a burden on her family. So when she's out, she's not just playing; she's actually hunting, and she's actually like bringing food home to the family. So she hunts squirrels, she hunts rabbits, and she even managed to pick up a wild dog that she found. Well, it's not a wild dog; it's a Pomeranian. She actually managed to befriend this homeless Pomeranian named Masamune-kun. Then they actually are a pair. So when she leaves home, Masamune-kun meets up with her. So Masamune-kun is basically her pet. Only thing is, Megumi doesn't let her keep pets at home. Doesn't let her because she'll just bring too many, right? So but when Ryoko is actually a very good hunter. She's very good with her makeshift bows and arrows, right? And so when she comes home, her goal is not to come home empty-handed because she sees her older sisters working and everybody else doing chores and family stuff, and she wants to contribute, but a lot of times her older sisters will not allow her to. So she does what she can. She's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out and play, but while she's playing, she's getting nuts and berries and gathering stuff for food and just doing the best that she can to support her family, So this is not. She's not a shy or timid girl, and when it comes to taking action, she's very reliable. And actually, this is one thing that's actually what scares Hitoshi, because he knows that if he takes Ryoko with him, she's going to try to fight, and she will die. And so that's why he's okay, that's why he just takes off without her. He's like, it's not that I don't love you, but this is the safest place for you. I see where the demon's going. I don't see any other demons around. If I take you with me, you're going to try to help me. So he's basically trying to outrun her before she makes this decision, because he knows that she will probably make this decision. So he needs to be well ahead of her and take that demon out before she gets there, right? So that was his thinking, but because he knows his daughter very well. And and she does exactly what he was hoping that she wouldn't do, but it kind of expected that she would do. So she finds the bow and arrow, and in the broken caravan, and she just picks that up, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna abandon my family, and she heads right for where the demon is, right? Now, at this point, before, Hitoshi was thinking it was about him. Then he was thinking that the demon was after his youngest daughter. But then he realized what kind of freaked him out is when they came out of the demon didn't make sure that they were dead, and it also didn't wait to see if they were going to resurface. So as soon as it couldn't smell them anymore, or as soon as it thought that it had completed its mission, it went somewhere else. And that means Hitoshi realized she is not his only mission. So, it's heading back towards my house where that smell is. Maybe there's a high possibility that it has other targets. And he was correct. This demon goes right for his house. No stops along the way, except that family that was on the road, snack. And then just kept on going, right? So Hitoshi, he gets there and he realizes that he's already kind of too late. This is Rin. Yeah, Mike. So this is Rin. In the previous one, I said the one with the purple was Rin, but actually no, this is Rin right here. This is Rin, and she was basically just kind of hanging out with her fiance, because these two. Okay, so a little bit of backstory about Rin and Toshiyuki. They know each other because Hitoshi and Hata have been friends for years. Ever since they're bros. So of course they wanted their kids to get married. But another reason why she actually likes this guy is because when she went to the village to go to school, well, he was actually waiting on her. So he was kind of he became kind of like her guide and kind of like her protector while she was there. And he would walk her home, halfway home until they got to Hata's house, and then Hata would make sure that she would get home the rest of the way. And so they kind of her and Toshiyuki kind of grew up together, and they went to the same school together, and they actually have feelings for each other. So that's why she doesn't really mind getting married to him or the arranged marriage, because she kind of already loves him anyway. And and so they're both educated, they're both doing well, and Hata, to be honest, the guy who just died, his father, Hata, Hata did pretty well for himself. So while Hitoshi was out in the bushes, and traveling overseas, and his family was like living out in the woods and stuff, Hata he took the opposite direction. He became a businessman in the village, right? So Toshiyuki and everybody, they have a nice house and stuff like that. And so they even offered to take Rin in at an earlier age, just so she wouldn't have to come travel so far between school and home every day, right? But Rin, she's like, nah, I want to stay with my family. So he's like, okay, bet. And so Toshiyuki, he's pretty well off. They're financially they're set. So if she was able to marry into this family, they'd be pretty good, right? They'd be kind of set for life. However, even though this guy is good and he does love her, he grew up at a time of he did grow up at a time of peace, relative peace after kind of far away from the battles that his father and Hitoshi left behind. And he grew up with the school system, and so he was trained in swordplay a little bit by his dad, but his dad didn't want him to be a soldier. At this point in time, I think Daddy's kind of looking down from heaven and like, I probably should have given him a little bit more training, after all, because just like his dad, he fights heroically to protect the woman he loves, and it doesn't really work out so well for him. And to be honest, he kind of goes out this guy, he goes out screaming, right? Because he's never fought a battle before, right? And he's never faced that kind of pain. Demon just bites him right in half, like a Snicker bar. Yep, yeah, so, and he's like, and Rin, she's looking, and she doesn't know what to do, of course, because she's not trained for this shit either. Rin was raised to be the educated girl of the family, and I mean, she's naturally a hard worker. She's naturally protective, but Hitoshi and Megumi, they're like, well, you're going to be the leader, the head of the household. If you you're gonna have to protect your sisters if something happens to just naturally happens to me and your mother. So they wanted her to have the best education and stuff like that. So and she's the oldest daughter. So to be honest, she was kind of spoiled. Because of this, she was mostly kind of bred to get married, to be a good wife. That was their mentality. They're like, okay, you'll get your education and stuff like that. You'll be independent, but eventually we do want you to get married, have a good life, be a good wife to your husband. And that's kind of what Megumi was kind of grooming her for, was to become a good wife, because she kind of knew that she would probably wind up marrying this guy. That was their plan, right? And so it was kind of Hitoshi and Megumi and Hata, they're all sitting back there, they're like, yo, you got plans for our kids? And the demon just she showed up and bust all that shit up. She's like, hey, nah, your son, nah, this is Snickers bar for me. And she's about to become one too. Now, I do want you to notice, after they killed Toshiyuki, Rin, she's trying to get back to the house, and the demon goes after her, too. So it was not even interested in Toshiyuki. He was just in the way. It's after her now, because it can't smell Ryoko. And so it kind of sweeps her leg, like some Karate Kid shit, sweeps her legs out from under her, and then it stabs her right in her thigh. Now, this will be a important factor for the rest of the Ryukage series going forward. This wound for Rin's story, this wound will become a vital piece of information, right? So this is where she gets it in the first comic issue, right? And of course, that hurts, so she screams. And then Hitoshi just this dude is always on time, right? So as soon as he sees that thing stab his oldest daughter, he just bum rushes it, just using all of the body weight, slams right into it, And so at this point in time, Megumi, she's just been in the kitchen, cooking and stuff like that, playing, watching her daughters play with Hitoshi's toys and do their chores and stuff like that. And then she hears all this ruckus outside, and then now, something that is not explained in comic issue number 1, something that will happen off the pages, is while she's cooking, she is starting, even though she can't see what's going on outside or anything like that. She notices the red skies, but so she's already getting an ominous feeling about stuff, and there's something inside of her that's starting to kind of make her feel uneasy. And so, she looks outside and she's like, okay, well, I think Hitoshi and them should be heading home right now. You know, because she would know that Hitoshi would know that she would be worried if she saw something like saw red skies coming in, like a storm or whatnot. And he's got her baby out there, right? So she's like, okay, well they should be coming home. But while she's doing this, like she is getting like a more pronounced sense of unease and dread before this even shows up. And so like now that she hears all this ruckus outside, you know, and she steps outside of the house and she sees her oldest daughter like laying on the floor, laying on the ground with a huge wound in her like thigh, screaming. She sees her husband like fighting this huge ass dog, and then like and she doesn't see her youngest daughter around like at all. So this woman is terrified. She's like, what the? So she looked at Hitoshi like, what did you do? What did you bring from overseas? Because this cannot be Japanese. So she naturally blames the foreign dog for everything that's happening at the moment. And Hitoshi's like, it's not my fault, baby, but like, but you know, she sees that he's doing his best to kind of like fight this thing off. Megumi is terrified, but there's a reason why she's terrified, right? Besides everything else I just described, there's another reason why she's terrified. But anyway, her priority, Hitoshi's like, yo, like, Megumi get Rin, and that's his only priority, because he doesn't know Ryoko, she's on her way. Well, he knows she's on her way, but he thinks he outran her fast enough to kill this thing, somehow. So he's like, get the oldest girl in the house. And so like Fujiko and Tomoka, they grab her, and they like bring her inside. All right, and so like you know, but Rin, she's really messed up. That thing is like really like messing with her legs. So they get her in, they like slam the door. But I want you to notice now what Megumi does. All right. And should I explain this now or later? Okay, well, let's look at her actions first, and then I'll explain to you why she's taking those actions. Because there's a lot that is about to be revealed about her later on in the series. All right. So anyway, they grab Rin and they run inside. They close the door. Like this tiny ass door is going to stop that thing. But you know, it's the only protection they got, so it's a logical move. But anyways, like as soon as they get inside the house, though, Megumi, she doesn't go for her oldest daughter. She doesn't try to nurse Rin first. And this is an interesting action because like as soon as like they get her oldest daughter in the house, like the other girl, they start trying to treat her wound. Megumi goes for a sword. And she goes for like a sword that Hitoshi brought from overseas, from China. This was one of the first weapons that he actually brought, and I mean Hitoshi, he just bought it because he thought it looked beautiful, and he thought it was like too beautiful to like use in battle, but he loved the quality of the blade and everything, and like probably because he felt something from it. And so Megumi's natural instinct is to go directly for this sword. That was instinct number one, right? And like at this point, like the second daughter, Fujiko, she's like, "What are you doing? Like, are you? Did you just grab a sword? You are not going out there to fight. You will die, mom." And so she's like, "Wait, don't go out there." And so like she's terrified that mommy's gonna like try to fight this thing. But well, I want you to notice what Megumi does next. She instinctively runs and grabs the sword. Second, she instinctively cuts her own hand with it, right? She doesn't know why she's doing this. She had no clue, but it's just a natural instinct for her to do this, right? Before she tosses it to Hitoshi. So she could have just taken the sword and thrown it to him and be like, "Hey, Hitoshi, catch," and hope that shit doesn't bounce off of his head. But she instinctively marks it with her own blood, right? And that is another key point of this storyline. So anyways, Hitoshi, like, this dude's actually doing pretty good against a like 9-foot demon with a dragon tail and razor sharp claws. Like, so he's doing his best. He's doing his best, like, too legit to quit dance move right now. Just trying to, he's doing the electric slide out of the way of that one. I'm old, yeah. So like, he's getting out of the way of that. And then Megumi, she yelled out to him, and she's like, "Hitoshi, catch!" And he turns around and he catches this sword. Now, one thing I do want you to notice is that during this entire fight, none of their weapons have had any effect on this demon. All of their swords have shattered fighting this thing because it's got iron dragon-like skin, basically, like dragon scales. So all of their swords have shattered against this. But when Hitoshi catches it, he doesn't have time to analyze what's going on because this thing is trying to fucking impale him in the chest. So he just like manages to block, and then he does a cut, and this sword goes right through that demon's tail like butter, like a hot knife through butter, right? And this is the first time we see the demon take any damage, right? Now, of course, they don't know why it's taking damage, and Hitoshi had no clue what's going on here. But he's like, "Oh shit, that worked!" And so, like, the demon like rages and like knocks him up against the tree, then tries to like pin him. But now Hitoshi's like, "Oh, I got a weapon that works, so I might as well use it." So he starts stabbing this thing and like trying to cut it up, and like, but because he realizes that he's got something that's doing damage, and this is going to become a bit of a problem later, and I'll explain why. But right now he's doing pretty good. He's getting it. He's like, he sees the HP point starting to drop on this dog finally, right? And like this guy, he's going all out, for his family. And his family's like, like some of them, like they would be watching him, but right now they're taking care of Rin. And like Megumi, as soon as she threw him the sword, she's like, okay, Hitoshi Keshi threw that sword to him. He caught it. She's like, yep, he's got it. She bounced back into the house because she got an older daughter to take care of, right? And during this whole fight, this fight goes on for a while. And then, like, you'll see, like, Ryoko has finally managed to catch up to her father. And she sees, like, he's doing pretty good, but at the same time, he's not exactly winning. So, Ryoko being the girl that she is, she's like, all right, well, I'm time for me to give daddy some backup. So she, like, starts getting ready to string her bow up and everything and fire off some arrows to try to distract that demon dog so that maybe Hitoshi can get a good, like, slice in on this thing's head. But, as soon as she pulls the bowstring back, this is a kind of an old bow, and the like string kind of snaps, right? And so she's like, well, damn, like, what I do? So she has to actually restring her bow. And in the meantime, Hitoshi's just getting handled. He's just getting his ass whipped. Like, if this was like Marvel Rivals or Marvel Tokon, this would be like him fighting magic. Like, this is not going well for him at all now. So again, he finds himself on the ground, like scrambling, like crawling towards the sword. And this time, the demon dog now recognizes that this guy is a threat. And so, this is not his primary mission. It's not designed. It's not there to kill him. It's there to kill his family. But since he's in the way, and they realize that this guy can do damage to it, like the demon dog did, like I'm gonna have to end you, and it crushes his right hand, like completely, like it like completely smashes every bone in his right hand. So Hitoshi, for the rest of the series, for the remainder of the series, like Hitoshi will be crippled from this, right? So he won't be able to use his like right hand anymore, right? In the meantime, like this thing is kind of playing with him now, like toying with him, because it still hasn't noticed Ryoko yet. So, anyways, like it's just like I'm gonna torture you, and then I'm gonna kill your family. Basically, that's the demon dog's decision-making process, all right? And so during this time, though, Ryoko, she manages to like to restring the bow. And then, like, she stands up and she's like, she says a little bit of a prayer, and then she draws the string back. Now, one thing that I do want you to notice is, like, when Ryoko is stringing her bow, her blood is dripping onto the bowstring and onto the arrow. So when she, like, touches the arrow tip also, like, her blood is in the arrow tip. So because all of this is bloody, right? So she pulls this thing back, and she's just trying to get this thing off of her dad. Like, wherever it sticks, it sticks. In this, as long as it doesn't stick at her dad, and it sticks somewhere in the demon dog, she's happy, right? She's just trying to create a distraction to give Hitoshi enough time to escape. And she says a little small prayer, and then she lets the arrow go. And this knocks her straight on her ass. I mean, like, she releases this thing with so much energy and so much power, it just propels her back. Let's see, I think on my, so I do have, like, some artwork where I'm using, like I said, I'm kind of like a hybrid artist right now. So I'm using modern, like, a lot of, like, modern artwork as well, like, kind of just upgrading everything. So this is, like, the old comic panel. And this is the new comic panel. So let's see, can I zoom in on this? Yeah, so when she releases this arrow, like, this thing flies so hard and so fast, it just basically knocks her backwards. And it is charged with a certain type of energy that she's never released before, right? Because she didn't even know that she had it, right? So she releases this arrow and it just flies straight like a beam of basically like a laser at this demon dog, right? Um, and in this version, now what you're looking at right now is you're looking at the what the comic series is going to, the new version of the comic series going from issue number 3 forward is going to look like. So this is like the old version, and this is the new style of artwork that I'll be using to tell the rest of the story, because I don't have the same artist, and I am doing a lot of this myself now. So yeah, old versus new. So, but when she releases the arrow, it flies like a laser and goes straight for this demon dog. And what happens is it winds up hitting this guy. Like it's going to kill Hitoshi. It looks like briefly, he's like, what? and then the arrow just smashes right into his neck. And the arrow hits this demon dog with so much force and so much power that it basically just blows a hole right through this thing. In the other comic, I'm gonna have it blow the demon dog's head straight off. But in the updated version, I'm gonna have it blow the whole head off. But it puts a huge hole. It goes directly through all of this demon dog's armor, all of his lava blood, everything, and just like killed it on the spot. So the demon dog drops dead, like completely deceased. And then like it fades. The demon dog, after it lays there for a while, and then it just evaporates into like a pile of ashes and smoke and disappears, right? And that is so that they actually managed to defeat the demon dog. Now, Hitoshi didn't see any of this shit happen, and he doesn't know exactly how the demon dog got defeated. He's like, nobody actually saw what happened. You know, it's just the demon was there, was about to kill him, and then like something happened, and then it fell. Only Ryoko knows that it died after. Well, even she didn't see where she hit it. Because remember, when she releases her arrow, the power of it just knocks her back, and that'll be a lot more dramatically displayed in the new version of the comic when I actually get around to doing redoing issues number 1 and 2. I'm still debating about whether I want to actually redraw issues number 1 and 2. Issue number 2 needs to be colored, so I'll probably wind up doing that one. But I do kind of like the art style for issue number 1. So I'm kind of debating about that right now. My main priority is doing issue number 3 and continuing the storyline, while like adding color to issue number 2. So this one might stay. This one might stay the original version. I'm not sure. But either way, when Ryoko released her arrow, it blew her backwards, so she didn't see where she hit the demon either. So she didn't see where it hit the demon. She didn't see what happened after, because she was too busy picking herself out of whatever she fell into. So nobody actually knows how the demon died, right? It's just she's like, well, I shot it with an arrow, and when I got up, it was just a pile of ashes and smoke. That's all she saw, right? And Hitoshi, I didn't see shit. That thing was on my back. I was about to die. At that point in time, I wasn't even looking. I was just praying to the Maker. And everybody else was inside the house. So, how this demon died is still kind of like a mystery. But that's how this particular ordeal ends. With the demon dog being destroyed, right? And so, that's basically the end of issue number 1. So it's that's how it ended. The most horrifying day of our lives. We never saw that thing again. But from then on, for the next 4 months, none of us even dared to venture outside by ourselves. After a while, we managed to recover and regain some little parts of ourselves that had been lost that day. Slowly but surely, once again, the sun began to shine on our household, washing those old and painful memories away. Not really, but they gotta eat. So they ventured outside only during the daytime. And so they thought it was over. After a couple months, they didn't really see any demons popping up trying to hunt them down. Hitoshi is still being nursed back to health. So his career is basically over. And then we have a bit of a time skip to 3 years later. So Ryoko will be 13 at this point in time. This is Rin, the oldest daughter, the one that was injured by the demon. and this is them. They are now living in a new city. So after the events of the first demon's attack, Hitoshi and his family, they had a discussion. Hitoshi's injured now. He's basically crippled. He's handicapped at the moment. He's permanently handicapped. He cannot really wield a sword or fight or do what he used to do in the shipping business, in the import-export business. So he's basically going to have to retire from that job. And they realize they're like, okay, well, we can't stay here. So they make a family decision to move to the village, and this is the village that Hata and his son are come from, right? And so after 3 years, they immediately move around 4 or 5 months after the demon's attack, just to get out of that area. And to to come where there's more people and they have easier access, and basically Hitoshi can find more work once he's recovered, and also the daughters, they can actually start working and doing stuff, so it turns out to be a pretty good move for the family. And so this is Rin, she's still she's become you'll find out more about how things are going for her in the next issue. But yeah, they thought it was over, and they're just walking around, just adjusting to their new life in this new city. But there's always a shadow lurking in the darkness, and that is where we kind of end with the Ryukage issue number 1. So just to recap. Hitoshi comes home, he meets his youngest daughter, they're having a great time, meets up with the rest of the family. This guy decides to party crash. They wind up fighting him, and they do manage to wind up pulling up a win this time. And so the story continues in issue number 2, which I will be doing in the next stream. But this is what the Ryukage characters kind of look like when we designed them back in 2014. 2012, 2014. I keep on mixing up those days because I actually released this comic 2 times, right? So 2014 was the latest release. Now, in this first issue number 1, we're only kind of getting introduced to the girls, right? We'll start getting introduced to these guys in issue number 2, right? Which I'll be streaming maybe tomorrow, I think. Yeah, so. Anyway, yep, this was the Ryukage issue number 1. So that's kind of just kind of a breakdown of the story so far, and then the story up till issue number 2. Then I'll go through issue number 2 probably tomorrow. But if you would like to know more about this this series, then the best thing to do is just come and check out my Patreon. Because like I said, this is where I'm posting all of the lore. I've got a ton of content. I am streaming on YouTube and Twitch. And I'll be moving all of my streaming content primarily over to YouTube from this week. So while I'm playing while I am playing popular games like Marvel Tokon and stuff like that, I am also simultaneously posting a new artwork and stuff for the Ryukage Saga that I'm working on, and for my WildFIRE series. So just to give you an idea of kind of where we're doing with this. This is some new artwork of Hitoshi that I just posted yesterday for my Kickstarter. Which reminds me, that is something that we need to kind of get into. So if you like this kind of content, you can actually support me by liking, subscribing, and commenting on my YouTube videos. I am, since I'm switching over from Twitch to YouTube permanently, I am going to be starting to try to grow my YouTube fan base, which is something I was never really focused on before. So if you like these type of lore explained videos, please like, subscribe, hit the noti bell, and so you'll be notified when I am uploading new content, because I will be uploading a lot of new content from now on YouTube. Even not just these type of live streams, but also shorts and posts and stuff like that. So if you want some free content to read, just check there. But you can also support me on Patreon. However, one of the reasons I've started this live stream is because I have actually just launched a Kickstarter last week, and this Kickstarter is for my WildFIRE Expanded Universe project. And the reason why this is relevant is because I'm launching this. The WildFIRE Expanded Universe is huge, and it has it covers it because this is the multi-generational story. And the first main story arc is the Ryukage comic series. And so the purpose of this Kickstarter that you're looking at right now is to actually get funding for completing this comic series, the Ryukage story arc, which is this comic series that I'm discussing right now. So you can like see a lot of the new artwork and a lot of the stuff that I'm actually that I already have set up for the comics for this Ryukage comic series here. And so, yeah, I highly recommend checking out the link to this Kickstarter. This Kickstarter will be running for the next 23 days. And I have not really done a lot of promotion for this Kickstarter. There's a few reasons for that. I didn't really pre-promote it because I want to get authentic general audience perception of this series and the WildFIRE series as a whole, and like of the Ryukage story arc. And I want to build this organically, so I don't want to pay for like pay a bunch of people to like do promotion and advertisement just for this Kickstarter, and then find out that a lot of people aren't either real fans of it, or like we're just kind of bought or whatever. So I'm actually looking for authentic fans of the series, which is why I could have promoted it earlier, and I had a lot of like backer kits and all of these people offering to help me, but I'm like, no, I want real fans, like real authentic fans of the series. So that's what I'm looking to build, and I'm looking to build a community around like those fans, right? So what you're looking at on the Kickstarter right now is you're looking at some of the updated artwork. Yeah, so this is the old artwork that was in the comic, and then you're gonna find like the new artwork that we're using for the comic series. And the purpose of this Kickstarter right now is to start producing issue number 3 of the Ryukage, the Curse of the Holy Priestess. So like the Kickstarter is up and running, so it'll be going for the next 23 days. And if you have any questions, I'm always updating it with new content, so you can read the updates, and all of this is for free. You can check the Kickstarter page out for free, and just kind of decide if this is a universe that you're kind of interested in. And you can ask questions, you can comment, do community stuff. So yeah, definitely check that out. But if you'd like to support, I have my Patreon here. This is where you're going to find like a lot of the locked content that you're not going to find in the Kickstarter anyway. So this is where the deep lore, all of the character profiles, and all of the main story arcs are kind of posted and will come together. So as I mentioned, WildFIRE has 3 main story arcs. So you have the Ryukage Saga, which is the one that we're talking about right now with these comics, and then the second story arc is CDULO, Beyond the Outer Rim, which is a bridge storyline between the comics and then the main WildFIRE storyline here. And if you would like to know more information about that as well, basically you can find all of that here, and you can also you can actually download and read the 2 original comics from my Gumroad account. And these 2 comics, the Ryukage comic series, will have about 26 issues. Right now, the Kickstarter is only focused on getting issue number 3, Curse of the Holy Priestess, funded. And then I'll, with any additional funding, I'll continue the comic series from there. But if you want to read the original 2 comics, you can download them here. And these 2 comics and the Ryukage series as a whole are actually a prequel to this novel, to the original WildFIRE novel that I published in 2007, which you can also download from Gumroad or from my Patreon, right? So the Kickstarter is just for issue number 3 to kind of get funding for producing the rest of the Ryukage Saga comics. The comics will be uploaded to Gumroad, and these comics are a prequel to the novel. And then if you want to know any additional details about, if you really want to do a deep dive into character lore and world building and how the universe was created and everything like that, then that's what my Patreon page is for. Because it's got I have about 300 and over 300 posts here that people can access to, and you can check out the character profiles of all 3 story arcs, as well as some of the other projects that are related to them, and even some animated clips of this. So highly recommend checking that out. All right, so but anyway, that was the conclusion of the Ryukage issue number 1. I'm very interested to know what people actually think about this storyline and the way that I'm kind of telling it. there are going to be some changes to the storyline when, as opposed to what was originally drawn. And there are going to be some things that are going to kind of be altered a little bit and going for as the comic series production advances. One of the main things that I mentioned was the artwork. And I don't really have to go back and like retcon too much in this. Just because like the first two comics were good, but they were the art style and everything was kind of like generic enough to where I can kind of get away with like with using the modern tools to like clearly define the characters and I explain more of their backstory. Yeah. So yeah, this was the Ryukage comic issue number 1. This is how the story begins, and I will be taking a break now. I'll be jumping off of this stream, and I'll be jumping into another stream in a few minutes where I'll be like streaming Marvel Tokon. So I am going to try to do at least like 2 streams a day. One with where I talk about the WildFIRE Expanded Universe and what's kind of going on with that, especially during this Kickstarter phase. I'll be like focusing on like telling the story and the lore and the background of the Ryukage Saga itself. And then like after I've done that video, then I'll probably jump on later like with some console gameplay, just to like kind of relax and like chat with you guys, have you guys join the community and stuff like that. And then like you can see me mix it up with some like popular characters and whatnot. All right. So that is going to be it for me on this stream, I think. Yeah. And yeah, I will please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the noty bell. Check me out on my other social media channels. Definitely check out my Kickstarter page. Like I said, it's free just to like browse it. So yeah, just go to, I'll put the link in the description. And if you guys would like to support and like to pledge, I am looking for about like 5,000 people to pledge like maybe like $2 to $3 to $5 for this, and that would help fund this universe. Yeah, so I'm not looking for like massive pledges or anything like that. Just anybody who's interested in the story, that wants to kind of help out, would be greatly appreciated. And yeah. I will be back on later, like with Marvel Tokon, and I will see you guys all again in the next stream, where I'll be like explaining issue number 2 of the Ryukage. So everyone have a good one. Bye for now, and I will see you guys later.